KUGAN CASSIUS picking this back up with Eddie Hearn.
I can't even remember where we were.
I was talking about Dylan White, I think.
Right.
And then the ring.
I would like to say, because Dave Coldwell just mentioned him, I know we're going to talk about the show. David Price is looking very dangerous. He took his sockets out, shoulders. How he does it.
Not my plug sockets.
No, yeah, but how he does it, he's like this, bang, bang. But we've been told, and we were going to talk about David Price anyway, but Dave Coldwell is, he'll tell you he's been training him and he wants it.
Right, let's talk numbers now. Come on, Price, who's he going to fight in the summer?
Well, I said to Dave, I said they want a Joshua fight, right? And in the right circumstances, Price Joshua is a great fight for me to sell. But I feel like we are 2, 3, definitely one big win away from being able to make that fight. So the plan is if that fight is ever going to come into fruition, box on Saturday. He's fighting quite a tough kid on Saturday. Should be relatively routine. Then look out maybe even at the O2 in a big fight, a tougher fight, and then he can start mentioning. But I mean.
But I agree with what you've been saying. I think
I understand that. Dave knows the game, but he also has been watching him and training him, and he feels probably his perception of David Price is different to others because he's seen how good he is, and others have just seen him coming off a loss.
How different he is now to what people's memories are of him in his last few fights. He's mentally he's a different fighter. Physically he's a different fighter. The big thing that everyone used to say about him is a big, stiff heavyweight. He's losing the stiffness. He's still big. In fact, he's bigger. I think when he was fighting, he was about 17 stone, 17 and a half stone, and he didn't look strong. He didn't feel strong.
What's he going to weigh on Saturday? Sunday?
It's 19.
Is
19 plus.
Really?
Yeah. What you've seen there is about 19 and a half stone.
Is he?
Yeah, but he ain't slow.
No, he didn't look slow.
He isn't slow, and that's what I'm saying. He's changing, but it's like you're saying.
I better get a bigger opponent. That geezer's only about 6
That's
months,
what I'm
about
saying.
15
What happened to
stone.
Gospic then?
Because he was
Do you know
terrible.
what? We got rid of Gospic. Gospic was talked about. He was the guy who boxed Chisora, and that's no good for anyone.
No.
Like, look, you need warm-up fights. We've established that. Sometimes people come back from injury, losses, but you don't gain anything from boxing that Gospic. No disrespect. If Gospic, if you're watching, I'm really sorry about that. But the guy that we've got he's been a distance with Rudenko, with
name?
Schwartz. I can't remember his name. He's like 10 and 2 or something like that. But trust me, he'll put up much more of a fight. And there's no value, as we saw on Saturday, in you don't progress anywhere. If he went in and knocked out Gospic in a round, you might as well have not had the fight.
It's a tricky one, this one, because we want just to fight for him just to get back in the ring and just go out there and win again, because he's had a rough time. All the crap wheel, the drug stuff and everything, it's just been a lot of pressure for him. So I didn't want a fight where there's going to be a lot of pressure on for this fight, because he's got enough pressure going out for this one coming back. But we don't want something that's just going to fall over. I want to get some rounds, because what he's doing in the gym, it's no good him not being able to do in the ring because he hits somebody with one shot and then they fall over. So we want somebody to go a few rounds. There's no point in him just chinning somebody. So ideally, it'd be something that would give him a few rounds, a few little problems, but not a life and death struggle. The guy that Price he picked out himself, the Argentinian fella, he'd have been ideal, but wanted too much money. The guy Ortiz fought prior to his last one. So if he's good enough for Ortiz, then he's good enough for Price's comeback fight. But he wanted too much money. So we've ended up toing and froing. I've got this fella, and it's just about getting a win. It's a little 8-rounder. We're not topping bills and fighting people that are just going to fall over. It's an 8-rounder. And then I agree with what Eddie's saying. We need some sort of win. Price himself has said he understands he's got to have some sort of win. We don't expect to walk.
It's not that. It's not a credible fight for Josh. It's about being able to sell it. So, we know Pricey can fight, and Pricey against Joshua would be a decent fight. But it's how do you convince the buyers and the subscribers and the fans that is a credible fight? The way you do
on
it,
paper he's coming off a knockout
the
loss.
way you do it is by performing and saying, wow, and actually having the win that people go, now he deserves it.
Yeah. So we're saying we understand we need a couple of wins. We need one decent win. But you see, people just see and think, somebody gets it on chin, that's it, it's done. Let's be real, it's heavyweight boxing. Any heavyweight gets it on chin, they can be done. Joshua was only one shot away from being done himself. You know, he came through it, and that's great for his experience. It shows what a good fighter he is. But what I'm saying is how boxing can work. You can be top of the world 1 minute, and then next minute you're rebuilding again. So it can happen to anybody at heavyweight division. So it is what it is. One thing you can't rule out with Price is, number one, he can box. People don't actually realise that, but he can box. And number two, he can punch like fuck.
That's bad language. We don't need language.
We don't need that,
on this
especially
channel.
with the Eubanks
No.
re-signing with Eddie Hearn. We don't need this kind of language on there.
You ain't got to be all bitter
No, but I'm
because
just
you
saying,
can't get any access to
It's
it.
not bitter.
You know what I mean?
You obviously are not powerful as you think you are, because really you're working for Chris Eubank Senior.
So you think I should get you in there?
No, I don't think you should get me in there, but if you was as powerful as you make out you are,
I don't
or
make
we
out
perceive you
powerful.
to be, you should be able to override that decision. But obviously,
You've got to be able to say decision before I override it. Go on,
Matchroom's
try it again.
Matchroom's just a vehicle for the Eubanks.
Try it again. Go on.
anyway, ideally, who would you like to see David fight in June, if he's going to fight in June?
We're just going through it at the moment, just seeing. There's not a lot out there, to be honest, that means anything. Listen, you've got fighters left, right, and centre at domestic level that haven't fought for anything other than an area title at the moment, calling Price out because they think all they've got to do is hit him on chin and they're going to knock him out, and that's it. They're forgetting they're going to get it back. But by beating somebody like that, it doesn't get us a Joshua fight. What does that do for us? It doesn't get us a Joshua
I'll tell you a
fight.
fight I'd love, and I know it's not one that is Price against Dillian White in time.
In time, yeah.
I think it's a great fight.
That is a good fight. That's a really good fight.
Price and
Dylan can
Chisora.
fight.
Price Chisora.
Yeah,
Winner
Yeah.
goes on to fight
Chisora.
your golden boy.
That'd be fine. It's a good fight. It's a really good fight.
What do you reckon?
What are you matchmaking now?
Well, I'm just suggesting. Price Chisora, winner fights
At the end of the
Joshua
day, Coog,
in
it's
November.
not your decision, is it?
I've got a highlight reel of your perhaps,
David Brent's.
possibly. Okay, let's move on to the man of the hour, the real life Rocky story,
Forgot his name.
Tony Bellew. I haven't forgotten his name.
What are you doing with that camera? You're like riding it like a horse. Have you seen? It's like he's going.
That's because he'd forgotten his
Yeah,
name.
yeah,
He was trying to buy a bit of time.
I was going to say Ricky Conlon, but you know.
This is a tough fight. This is a big moment. In my interviews today, what I've been talking about is more about mental pressure, because he's been running around. Obviously, I mean, I don't think Tony's the kind of guy that's going to benefit sitting in a hotel room just staring at a wall and like not having anything going through his mind. He's a lively character, and I think it's been difficult for him because his mind is engrossed in the event as well as the fight. So, you know, he's got people clamouring for tickets, he's got press obligations, media obligations with us and the club, but we knew when we made the decision to do it that was what was going to come with it, the decision. I did
You
it.
said that,
Yeah, I
right?
know. But, and actually, we've had 4 weeks to sell this fight. But before we made the decision,
Could have done it as well.
yeah, I know, we could have, yeah. But before we made the decision, we knew we were going around this date, but it was all more about, is this the right thing? It's going to all get in his mind, he's going to have a lot on his plate. And then we nearly didn't do it, did we?
Yeah.
And then we was like, do you know what?
I kind of didn't want it. I
Yeah.
was happy for it to go at the O2
Yeah.
or elsewhere. I didn't really want it because for that reason. But Tony were adamant, weren't he?
Yeah,
It was him that
yeah.
wanted it. He made that decision.
We went into a meeting at Everton with Tony Bellew, and I was like, right, what do you think about, what's the date we was looking at? June the 4th, wasn't it?
Yeah.
June the 4th. No, we can't because we're replanting the pitch, and you know that starts on June the 1st. And all right, what about Saturday? We can do Saturday, May the 28th. So we've got Burns. I said, well, we could do Sunday, May the 29th. I said, listen, Tone, as much as I want to do this, I'm not doing Sunday boxing. And they went, oh, that's a shame, it's bank holiday. And I went, hang on. Tony went, what, bank holiday Sunday? Well, Scousers love it. So, yeah, we ended up going with it. But the time they got the approval from the council and stuff like that, we had 4 weeks to sell it. I mean, we're going to do, you know, we'll be close to 20,000 now on Saturday. If we had an extra 4 weeks, you know. But it's a great achievement and it's a great moment. And whatever happens on Saturday, it'll be a night people will never forget. And if he can do the business to win the world title at Goodison Park,
When?
you know, listen, that's your job.
That's his job.
Yeah,
Actually.
yeah, well, both of your job, because you've got to get the game plan right, and he's got to execute it. That's what I said. That's the most important thing. He's got to get the game plan right together, but Tony's the one who's got to execute it. That's so important in this fight, especially with a tricky southpaw like MAKABU. Dave will tell you more. He's the brains behind the boxing. But for me, it's like keep your head together, listen. No, Tony's got a good boxing brain. He knows what he's got to do to beat this guy. It's about executing it, and all the top fighters, the top players, the top athletes, top teams are all capable of putting in that performance when it matters most.
We spoke about this earlier, looking at MAKABU's record. Obviously considered avoided, considered dangerous, but what do you know was his best win to date?
His best win on paper was Glenn Johnson, but that was an ancient shell of a man that he faced in there.
You said someone else.
Manchu was a good win.
Manchu was the best win. He was the guy that everybody thought was going to be the guy of the division.
Kucha, he beat.
Kucha's a
He was
very
fighting
good
Enzo
fighter.
Mack, yeah.
But Machuno was probably the highest profile win that he's had.
When they fought, it was like the two most dangerous cruiserweights basically fighting each other.
Yeah. And I believe MAKABU was the underdog going into that fight. I think he was the man that was kind of like fancy to get beaten there. And it was a good fight. You can't get that fight anywhere. I managed to get out of the fight 3 days ago. And what that did, being honest, is when you know...
Put the fear price up.
No. Do you know what? The opposite. When you believe what you're doing is right and you believe that the man's got certain weaknesses and your man can exploit them, but you haven't seen the proof as such. But then when you see it in a fight and you see it in stretches in rounds, in a couple of rounds of fights, and you just look at it and think, wow, I'm happy. So seeing that just kind of like confirmed that I believe that Bellew can definitely knock this kid out. He can definitely, if he hits him on the button, he will knock this guy out. He's got to get there, and he's got to get there without taking punishment himself. But he can definitely knock him out. But MAKABU was a really good fighter, very good inside fighter.
He punches as hard as his record suggests?
MAKABU, yes. I think what he does is, I think he's a great body puncher, a really good body puncher, and you see that in a Machuno fight more than anything.
It's weird because when you look at him, I was saying, if he was a middleweight or super middleweight, you wouldn't even think he looked that big.
Yeah. But he's got that, the relaxed side. When you see old sparring videos of like people, great fighters, sparring guys that are like bigger, stronger, whatever, but you just see him in pocket and comfortable, just whipping shots in. He's got that sort
I know I'll
of
probably
style.
get laughed at for this comment, but like when you see a Golovkin, when you watch him on a pad, don't look like a big puncher. Just got the time. He's exactly the same. You can see the power, but it doesn't look.
He's very heavy-handed and he whips the shots in. He's a good body puncher. He's a very good fighter, and the fact that he's a southpaw makes it even worse because it's a southpaw. It's like you've got to get used to boxing a southpaw. He's not sparred a southpaw or anything since preparation for the Stevens fight. He's not been in ring with a southpaw until then. And then obviously we got this one, and so he's had to adapt to that. But as a coach, all you can be is happy going into a fight with what your fighter's done and what you're seeing in sparring. And everybody says, "Oh, he's in the best shape. He's this, is that, blah blah." What the main difference for this fight than anything is that what I've asked him to do in sparring, he's gone out and he's done. And in the early days, where you're getting used to doing that and you're thinking, this isn't working. I'm getting tagged with this, or I'm getting tagged with that, or I'm missing with this, I'm missing with that. You have to have the patience and the discipline to keep doing it because you're getting used to it and you're adjusting to southpaw. So he's adjusting, and then for the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks sparring, every session's been bang on. And going into the fight, I know we can win the fight. I know how he wins the fight, and you can only
by
be
knockout
happy.
on points.
Either. It's like I said, if he
Just
does
want to know
what he's
because
doing,
I know Kugan's got
we got some money on it.
yeah.
I think he'll knock the guy out. I do.
I'm going round 9.
But if it's points, I'm happy with points.
I'm going
round 9.
I'm going to go round 11.
But don't get me wrong, listen, if he switches off like he has done in the past, if he switches off, all of a sudden he's in deep water. That's what kind of fight it is, because I see he's the underdog with odds and everything. I agree with that on paper on what they've done. Yeah, put him as underdog. MAKABU come over while he was doing his shadow boxing, finishing, and just shouted down at me, telling me that this is a different class. Maybe so, but it's forgetting that Tony's been in with Stevenson. He got beat, but yeah, he's been in with a better fighter. But MAKABU's not been in with anybody like Bellew. And one thing about Bellew, every fighter I said it to Ryan Rose before he boxed Jamie Moore. Every fighter's got that one fight in them where when shit goes to wall, you have to bite down and you can have an enormous war. If it's a war, you have to take it to him. You have to give everything you've got. Every fighter's got one. Even if it's not their style, if you're a classy boxer, everybody's got that one fight on where they can have a tear up. This might be that fight for Bellew.
I thought he showed that against Masternak as well.
Yeah, but I think this one is going to have pockets, and it could be where this one's going to be a lot harder than Masternak.
Well, on paper,
It can be.
Okay.
I go now.
something a little bit
No,
different.
sure.
No, that was it. That was it.
That was good. That was good enough. It's a good little
It's
discussion
nice to have an
going on.
interview with involving me where there's just not bollocks spoken for 45 minutes. Bit of brain as well.
I know.
And it moved up to about 59
Normally.
minutes.
Well, that was one part.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was two parts.
Yeah, correct. One gets more hits. You talking about this, or what you were talking about earlier? What do you reckon?
Are you going to do it in 2 parts?
Yeah, got him. Because otherwise I can't fit
No, but
Dave's
we're
name in
not
the
really-
title.
We haven't really.
You're not
thought about
really
what might do
social
next
media
week.
kings, are you? Oh, yeah, I know. Anyway, Eddie Hearn.
He's got his hat like that. Makabu's manager, isn't he?
Yeah, I hope you're not swapping
They're
seats.
half team MGM, by the way.
I know, yeah.
Is it hard? Is the hat, your hat, is it tilted like that for a reason, or is it a mistake, or is it just if that's how you put it on, or have you actually gone in the mirror and gone, I'll wear it just a little bit to the side?
Straight.
Probably a combination of everything you said.
Are you aware that your hat is worn to the side?
Yeah, I know, because otherwise you can't see. Like the peak comes down a bit too hard, and people like you look shorter than what you are. People like Dave, you can't even fucking see.
I was going to say, what's that doing to me?
Yeah, by the way, Davey's sitting on a ring.
Do you
Davey's
know
sitting
what
on
it
a
is?
ring.
I thought I'm going to sit on here because I'm fed up. I'm fed up being that. I've got Pricey in ring. I've got Bellew in ring. I'm fed up. I talked to him on interviews. I've had enough.
Dave Caldwell, Eddie Hearn, thanks to Rifle TV. I predict something will happen at the press conference or the weigh-in.
You hope so, because that's all you want, is it? Views. You're
Yeah,
a
I
view
want views, but I think one of them is going to flip, which will lead the other to flip.
I don't know if Bellew's
Well, I did a
chilled,
face-to-face
calm,
at
but
Goodison, and it was Makabu was very.
It's Makabu was the one that's been chatting, not
He's
Tony.
got.
He's the one
He
that's
had some
been-
big
that's been
quotes
giving
today
it.
with the media, which you'll see over the next 24 hours. Over quiet.
He has
I'm not
been
sure
chatting from
if
the
he
start.
says them to Tony, you'll see fireworks.
Is it about crying?
Yeah, but about
I'm crying, he's
no
crying.
one can save him from what's about to happen to him. And
You see, all people do is they'll look at Bellew for if he reacts, then it's Bellew. Oh, he's an idiot. Is this? You don't see what people say to start it off. Bellew's been quiet.
We'll see Thursday. I hope it kicks off. I'm not
Of
going
course
to lie.
you do. Of course you
I'm not
do.
going to lie.
It's views, isn't it? And you can imagine the header from IFL. Unbelievable, borderline prison sentence.
Half these headlines are
Possible
James, by the way.
6-year sentence
Do you
for
know when you see
Makabu.
heated and intense?
Oh.
That's Helder.
Intense.
Just so you know.
There was one the other day. It was David Hay.
Venomous.
No, you're venomous.
That was
It was
Helder.
David
That
Hay
was
against
Helder.
Greg got that geezer at the weigh-in, and he goes venomous head to head. I was thinking, got exactly what you want. I thought, got to watch this
And what happened?
for about a minute, and then like
was
that. I was
Helder.
like, what was venomous?
I asked
about
Helder, what was that about then? He went, well, he's the Cobra, isn't he?
God, that's sharp for him.
Oh, I was just saying, but yeah. So give me something to back up my title with, that's all I want. Anyway.
Police called. It'll be that. No,
Fight off!
no.
You in Macabre prison.
Secret Service, FBI called to this venomous incident.
Right. Thank you very much.
Cheers.